They were young, they were ambitious, and they had no idea that their job would slowly kill them. In the early 1900s, thousands of women worked in radium factories, painting glowing watch dials by hand. But what seemed like an exciting opportunity soon became a nightmare. This is the tragic story of the Radium Girls. To understand how this happened, we need to go back to the early 20th century, when radium was considered a wonder element. Scientists had only recently discovered its glowing properties, and soon radium was everywhere, in toothpaste, cosmetics, even drinking water. People believed it had health benefits, and companies profited from the hype. One of the biggest industries using radium was the United States Radium Corporation. Their product? Glow-in-the-dark watch dials painted with a special radium-infused paint called Undark. These watches were in high demand, especially for soldiers in World War I who needed to read their dials at night. To meet demand, the company hired young women as dial painters. The pay was good, the job seemed safe, but it wasn't. The factory encouraged a technique called lip pointing, where workers would lick their paintbrushes to create fine tips for detailed painting. Supervisors reassured the women that radium was harmless. In fact, some of the workers even painted their nails, teeth, and faces with the glowing paint for fun. What they didn't know was that radium was silently poisoning them. The first signs of trouble came slowly. At first, the women felt unexplained fatigue, aching joints, and tooth pain. Then their teeth began falling out. Their jaws became soft, almost like sponges. Some suffered horrific bone fractures without any injury. They were literally falling apart from the inside, but the factory ignored their cries for help. When the women went to doctors, the results were terrifying. Radium had bonded with their bones, emitting deadly radiation from within their own bodies. But instead of admitting fault, the company covered it up. The United States Radium Corporation denied any wrongdoing. They hired their own company doctors to falsify medical records, blaming the women's illnesses on syphilis, a deliberate attempt to ruin their reputations. Even as women died slow, agonizing deaths, the factory kept hiring more workers. By the early 1920s, many of the original dial painters were either dead or dying, but some refused to stay silent. A group of surviving workers, including Grace Fryer, Catherine Schaub, and Edna Hussman, decided to fight back. In 1928, they took the company to court in a case that would change history. By this point, they were so sick they could barely stand. Some testified from their deathbeds. Doctors and scientists finally proved the horrifying truth. Radium was poisoning these women from the inside out. Their bones were so radioactive that even years after death, their bodies still glowed in the dark. The verdict? A victory for the Radium Girls. The company was forced to compensate the victims, and the case led to major workplace safety reforms. But for many, the ruling came too late. Several of the women died before they ever saw justice. The suffering of the Radium Girls was not in vain. Their case directly led to workplace safety laws, radiation exposure limits, and workers' rights protections that still exist today. Their legacy lives on in every worker who has fought for safe working conditions. The Radium Girls paid the ultimate price, but their fight saved countless lives. How many dangers do we ignore today, just like they did? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe for more forgotten history, only on Echoes of Time.